Welcome. You are on IntellectualRadio.com. I am Lynn Sharif, and I am the host of the Wise Wife Radio Show. So happy that you have come to join in the conversation today. And if you have anything that you'd like to contribute to the conversation, please do not hesitate to call me at 708-223-8953. Again, that is 708-223-8953. I saw something that was so interesting to me that I wanted to bring it to you tonight. And it's a belief that we have had, that I have heard over and over again as a rule in marriage. And that's called the 50-50 relationship. You give half, I give half, and life is wonderful. And really, I don't know exactly where it started, but I can tell you that back in the 70s, there was this song by Teddy Pendergrass. And the name of the song is called When Somebody Loves You Back. And I'm going to give you some of the lyrics because I think it's the basis for what we have believed. He said that it's just so good loving someone when that someone loves you back. We can build a life of love and a life of joy. We can make our goal each other's happiness. I will do for you anything that I can every day. I want to do a little bit more and a little bit more. I just need for you to appreciate the little things I do. I have experienced, and again, I am speaking in Teddy Pendergrass's voice in his 1970s song, When Somebody Loves You Back. But what he said was that I've experienced over and over again when I'm giving 80% and she's giving 20%, or she's giving 70% and I'm giving 30%. So I'm not saying 70-30. I don't want 60-40. I want a 50-50 love. And so there you have this basis for what we consider to be a relationship that is working. And that is when we are equally doing the same amount of work. But this got me excited because I saw this clip online by Brene Brown. And if you don't know Brene Brown, she is in Texas. She is a researcher. She does research on shame, vulnerability, and leadership. And she burst onto the scene back in 2010. And if you have not seen it, I highly recommend that you listen to her 2010 TED Talk called The Power of Vulnerability. And I will definitely drop this after the show into the chat. But it's a 2010 talk on the power of vulnerability. She's amazing, been on Oprah, and she has other TED Talks after that. But she had a clip online that I want to give you the Reader's Digest version of. And if you are just joining us, we are on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm Lynn Sharif, host of the Wise Wife Radio Show. And I'm here tonight to give you a little tidbit on this idea of a 50-50 love. So what she said, and I'm going to quote, she said, 50-50 is the biggest crock of BS ever. That's a quote, but she didn't say BS. She said, the reality is that marriage is never, ever 50-50. And what she has done, she and her husband, what they've managed to do is to really quantify and communicate where they are. And she said, listen, there are some days right now, she's in a season where her mother is sick. She's like, I may have a 20%. And what that 20% is, what type of energy do you have? What is your investment in the relationship? Your kindness and patience, because that really is the stuff that is day to day what marriage is giving and getting. So she's like, if I've got just 20%, her husband's saying, I got the other 80%. I got you. I got your back. And then someday she said, her husband's like, listen, I'm coming in at a good 10%. And guess what? She's like, I got a lot going on too. I'm at about 25%. And so during times like that, they sit down at the table and they craft what they call a kindness plan. So in other words, if both of us are falling short of giving to this relationship, what can we do to make sure that in these seasons that we don't hurt each other? You have to communicate that. And the other thing that I want to help you or just remind you of is the fact that marriage is a partnership. It's a partnership, but not a partnership where each partner is carrying half the load. The bottom line is that partnership means that when your partner is weak, that you are a little stronger and vice versa. And the point is, when you're in these seasons, how can you avoid hurting each other? How can you avoid hurting each other through your overt actions or not speaking to it just because you are worn down with the other things that are going on in your life? And so I really examined, my husband and I sat down and we examined what this really looks like in real life. And if you are just joining, I'm talking about this myth of 50-50 contribution to the relationship. So in that 2011 to about 2013 timeframe, my husband and I became full-time caregivers for his disabled elderly mom. We had a nursing home in our home, and my husband took over the full-time care along with caregivers and nurses, but he took over that entire thing. Now, I would have looked like a complete lunatic if I had been pressing him about when we gonna do date night. Why didn't you get me any flowers? This man, this is a water level, and this is his nose. He is barely keeping his head above water with being a full-time caregiver. And so we talked about it, and really, we agreed that he was probably given about a solid 10 to 15%. It did not mean he did not love me. It just meant that the weight of life was happening, and he could not carry the bulk of our love relationship. And so I carried the 85 to 90% of the weight during that season. And you also have to think about when you may be in a tough season at work, because work takes up a huge amount of our life. And when you're going through a tough time at work, say your boss is giving you a hard time, you might be on a performance plan, or you just might be under the weight of a huge project at work. The idea is that your partner can pick up the slack where you cannot, because this is a partnership and that it's never 50-50. So I want you to get rid of that thought that it is supposed to be 50-50. So then you don't have an attitude. But the other thing that needs to happen, and that's really this two-step process that I'm going to give to you. And that is that, one, you have to assess and report what your percentage is. Let's throw out the window the idea that it should be 50%. So I want you to communicate where you are to your spouse. If you've got 10% right now, you might really be in a really great place. You might be, listen, I got 50 to 60%. I'm good. Where are you? And so I need for you to communicate exactly where you are. And understand, you all understand what it takes to run your life. So if your spouse says where they are, you're going to have to pick up that other slack. And then the other thing that I'd like for you to do is every now and again, throw in the question, what can I do to help you right now? So I want you to, one, assess where you are. And then two, the other person says that. And every now and again, throw in the question, what can I help you with right now? So tonight, if you are just joining us, listen to the replay. I talked about the myth of the 50-50 relationship. And the reality is that marriage is rarely, if ever, 50-50. So assess where you are, and I need for you, the other spouse, the partner, to pick up the slack. So before I leave you right now, I'm going to give you a new challenge. We did a challenge before, the kissing challenge. I've got another one. I want you to go to your text string with your spouse. I want you to go back through all of those messages and go back 20 to 30 messages. Do you see any text? Because I know we communicate about what's happening, but do you see any texts that are affectionate, encouraging, or flirty? Do you see any texts in that string, if you go back 20 or 30, that are affectionate to your spouse, encouraging, or flirty? And if you do not, I want you to fix it. Fix it. Sometime this week, send a different text. Not, hey, did you get the gas bill? But send something affectionate, encouraging, or flirty. So that's what I have for you tonight. If you would like to communicate with me, please send me an email at lynn@lynnsharif.com. And of course, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram. And if you want to check out any of the past episodes of the Wise Wife Radio Show, go to YouTube and search the Wise Wife Radio Show, or you can even search Lynn Sharif, and you can catch up on all the past episodes. So I really appreciate you joining me tonight. Join me on next week. I will be here at 7 o'clock on next Tuesday. Thank you so much.
My mister is sweet. My mister is kind. My mister